morning and welcome to another wonderful time with the Integrity Station, your wonderful radio station serving you the very best in radio programming, absolutely amazing content. We welcome you to another beautiful Monday morning, a great start to the week. And I said earlier how I'm a day ahead because I actually thought it was the 1st of September and I was already wishing people a happy new month. Until I realized that, hey, hang on a little bit, not too fast. We're not quite there yet. And so, yes, I really still need to enjoy all that August. I guess August still has a lot more to offer me, is why I feel like, hey, we're not too fast. There's still so much more in the month of August. And you know what they say about last minute miracles? For those who are, who have had a rough time, this August, last minute miracles can still happen. So I believe, and I'm positive, and I hope I'm spreading all that positivity to anyone who may be listening today, that, hey, something big can still happen for you today. And when it does, remember me, remember my tights, okay? Anyway, welcome back, everyone. It is time for Beyond the Surface. I'm Ronke Giwa Onafuwa, and I hope you're staying cool, staying safe, and staying sane as well. These times are really, really difficult times for everyone, not just in Nigeria, but across the world with coronavirus, its effect on the economy, its effect on businesses, its effect on people's mental health. Sometimes as Africans, we underestimate, how the effects of things generally to our mental health. We only recognize when something is physical, if you know what I mean. So maybe someone has a terrible accident and we see blood, is when we know, they're going through a lot. But when we cannot measure, we cannot put our finger on whatever it is that's affecting us, we just think, perhaps you're just being too emotional, you are too soft, and you need to just man up a little bit. All right. Okay, so I will be going on Beyond the Surface right now. Beyond the surface of failure. When we think of the word failure, oftentimes a lot of us are very scared. We don't want to think of failure at all. We don't want failure at all. We pray against failure in our churches and in our religious gatherings. When we even greet people, we pray against failure. And it's part of our culture. We don't like to fail. We don't want to fail. But sometimes we've heard successful people talk about how they have failed forward. They've had to fail in order to get to the point that they're at in their lives. So I'm excited to be exploring the topic of failure today on Beyond the Surface, because it's beyond face value. We've met the most successful people, and they will tell you about their connection or their experience with failure. So we're going to be talking to a very successful entrepreneur today on the program. She's definitely somebody that's become a household name. A household name because if you have a family with children, it's hard that you haven't heard of her or heard of her products. She's a successful business person because, a lot of mothers know her. She dabbled into the food industry, the baby food industry, a few years ago, and she has become a household name after, becoming so successful on social media and selling, her products. A lot of mothers know her. There's a particular store that I used to go to when my daughter was still a baby, and I used to try and get her products, and I'd always have to put my name and my number down because it was out of stock, so, and I don't know particularly if I didn't have a child, if I would know her, because you know how it's when you get into a phase of your life that you start to realize, oh, okay, this product exists. For example, those who are married will know certain products or gets towards targeted at married women or married men. Those who are new moms just find that they begin to see different kind of baby toys, baby food that they never thought, they cared about, or perhaps it's when you have a job, you start to see shirts, different kind of shirts, brands and suits that you never really cared about, so when we come into different phases of our lives, we see different products that, that we now, sort of concern us, and we now start to purchase. So, like I said, I don't know if there's anybody out there who's not a mom who perhaps may know her, but definitely one thing I can say is she has become a household name. So I cannot wait to have my discussion with her. I'm actually having this discussion with her telephonically because she's all the way in Lagos. And hey, thank God for for technology. I can talk to anybody abroad. Also, fantastic thing is Splash FM now. Even if you're all the way in the UK, wherever in the world, we have gadgets here that can help us connect to you, and we can talk to you from any part of the world. So I'm going to bring her on, and I've been trying to reach her earlier, and hopefully, hello, good morning.
Morning.
How are you, Miss Toyin Onigbanjo?
Fine, thank you.
Good to find out. I was already panicking because I'd been trying to reach you in the morning to let you know, hey, our interview was going to go on live. So I'm glad that we're finally able to have you on live here on Splash 105.5 FM. You're welcome once again.
Thank you very much.
All right. So for those, I was actually talking to a listener and talking about how, how when you get to a particular phase in your life, certain things or certain products that you didn't really pay attention to, all of a sudden just become your reality. For example, I said how maybe it was when I became a new mom, for example. I'm not sure if, there are people out there who are not moms who would know August secrets, for example. But it was when I was a new mom that I started seeing maybe baby food or baby clothes or baby things, or people who are maybe just married are the ones that will see some ads targeted at them or some products that we do not realize. For example, before I became a mom, I didn't realize there's so many mom groups or mom communities on social media. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Hello, are you there?
Yes, please.
Oh,
yes, please.
Yes. Anyway, let me introduce my guest before I start to ask her questions. She is a former journalist. She says she's a recipe developer, a children food blogger, and the founder of August Secrets Nigeria, a baby food and toddler food solutions company. Like I said, I've come to, know her because of how she services me as a mom. And I'm really proud of how far she has come. I talked about how she's now a huge brand on social media. She holds a master's degree in international affairs and a BA in English literature with a diploma certificate in child nutrition. She's a family enthusiast and founder and CEO of August Secrets. Once again, you're welcome, Toyin Onigbanjo. Today I'm going to be talking to her about failure. And like I said, she has become such a household name on social media. And first of all, I'd like to say well done with all that you're doing. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. Okay, fantastic. First of all, I want to say well done for all that you've done. In the few years that I've known you, you've done so well. And I'm very, very proud to know you as well. I wanted to ask, you used to be a journalist. I know that what brought on your founding of August Secrets was the fact that you had a baby, and your baby was refusing a lot of the foreign food that you had tried to get him to eat. So tell us about that story.
Okay, so it's just pretty much straightforward, but it wasn't as straightforward as it was really. So I've always loved cooking and adventure with food, especially nutritious food. I've been very curious about food, but I had to go to work. I had to continue my job, after having a baby, up until my son started getting picky. He didn't like all of the foods that we bought, off the shelves. So then that just got me thinking, okay, why do we have to give babies, only foods off the shelf? Because this is really frustrating. He's not taking any one of them. What do I do? I bought different kinds, all the types, all the kinds. He refused every single one of them. So until I started to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to create my own, a recipe. It's homemade for him. And then, I started to do that. So, and, it was along the line that I took a certificate in child nutrition, just so that I'm able to know the real kind of combination to give children, because it's pretty much different, especially in their first 1,000 days. So, and then that was what I did. And then along the line, I didn't know that, a handful of other moms had, such a kind of, challenge and a kind of problem. So, from trying to wean their babies, from breastfeeding, trying to feed them the right food, everything just kind of there were, people who were, asking, finding out, so how do I, because I have this kind of problem, so and that was how it started. And, personally, that was when I knew that, very driven by impact, because I can't just like know something and people be asking
around you, yes.
want the help. So that was how I started. So the first, 2 years, so say 1.5 years, was pretty much about helping mothers.
Okay. All right. So I always want to know because oftentimes when we see successful entrepreneurs like you, there are people who aspire to be like you. There are people who tap into your blessings, etc. But what they don't realize is some of the, the struggles that you've had behind the scenes before you actually got to this space where you are someone that everyone is inspired by. I mean, from the point of conception of August Secrets to actually having one product in your hand, tell us about some of the tough situations that you had to go through.
So the very first challenge, I would say, like the very tough ones is, so you're making the food in your house.
Okay.
You're trying out the recipes, and then you're sending to people. People are happily receiving them, but it gets to a point when people would no longer be comfortable, with
you working from your kitchen,
the food from your home, from your kitchen, and then again the size. So say your kitchen can take comfortably, hygienically to produce 50 packs of food. What about when you have 200? When you need to make 200 and then everyone is all sweaty? Are you going to be sweating in the kitchen? Are you going to, compromise hygiene? Because it only takes one child, to take the food, and then, it goes bad, and then you have to take responsibility for that. So you don't even want to go through that route. You don't want to take such risks. So the companies that we partnered with initially, there were so many setbacks. Putting together, setting up our own factory eventually, like that has to be one of the toughest, decisions, toughest steps, we've taken. And then, just resigning from journalism, going into this, taking my certificate course along the line, everything just like had to be done at the same time. So I had to resign, I had to take my course, and I had to set up the packet all at the same time.
Right.
It has to be one of the biggest
decisions.
I can't even describe how it is right now.
Right. I know one time you wrote on your Instagram, you said something. You said, you know what it means to consistently run at losses for months, have major challenges, staff issues, yet show up every day to serve your customers wholeheartedly. I mean, let's first of all talk about running at a loss, which a lot of people just feel, I'm going to start a business and I'm going to start making money. You have talked about that. I often follow your very inspirational and motivational captions on social media, and I always get inspired, even though I don't particularly see myself as a business person like what you do. But I always get inspired because it helps me in my personal life as well. I had talked about how don't go into business to make money. Don't start a side hustle. But that's what who goes into starts a side hustle not to make money. What were you trying to say there?
Okay, so I think it's kind of like in two parts, but it's good that, as a business person, you understand the best case scenario and the worst case scenario. Don't just go into it for the best case scenario. So because, the best case scenario is good, it's interesting, we all love it, but we also need to have like the worst case scenario. So the worst case scenario where like, okay, what if this fails? What if this goes down? Don't just say, oh, it will never go down in Jesus' name. Nobody plans that, okay, we are going to buy we're going to purchase a whole set of machinery, and none of them will work. Nobody plans that. It happened to us, after we had set up and everything was okay and everything. And we now bought like a set, and then it becomes like, okay, didn't you plan it well? Did you plan it well? We planned it for months. We consulted, the right people. We got referrals, and then it still happened. So what then did we do? Like, these are things that behind the scenes that nobody will see. You would certainly have behind the scenes times that nobody will see. Like, you will have times you will cry yourself to bed, like literally. So then there has to also be the best case scenario, so we don't scare people out and say, okay, so you mean it's all hard.
All doom. No, it's not all doom and gloom.
Hard.
Yes.
Yes, it's same thing to also not all rosy. So that's the meaning of that. Like, so when people just go in to say, okay, because my friend Ronke has gone into the salon business, then it must be rosy. Let me just go there. No, you need to sit and ask Ronke, please, can you just tell me like the worst time or your worst challenges on this? And maybe the thing that Ronke was able to cope with, you might not be able to cope with it, and then you fail woefully and then pack up and then begin to say, oh, she never told me. So it's better to find out the worst case scenario, the pitfalls, likely pitfalls and everything, and they just trust God for the rest.
Right. Because I feel that, the era that you went into is so much more delicate, because the different case, if you're doing stuff for adults, they can go to the toilet with their purging and then that's it. But nobody wants to play with their baby. How do you get people to trust you? Because people trust foreign brands because some of them have been there for years. Some of them have been there for even like from generation to generation. Some of them are huge household names. How do you get people to trust you so much that the thing you made, you, Toyin Onibanjo, somebody will feed their child with it?
Okay, so I think that time, is important when we talk about these things. So I have been, when we think about this, I have been sharing recipes since the last 5 years. Even whilst I was working, I've been telling people, do it this way, do it that way. It wasn't a business at that time. So when I started the business, I was transparent enough to say, okay, so this thing I asked you guys to add together, that's the same thing I'm also adding together. Then you can easily find it at the stores near you now and pick it up.
Yes.
So that's the beautiful success story in it. So, and time has its work.
Right.
It's just what it is. It's not like
people don't trust you immediately. It takes time. They're watching you.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, people are watching. They are watching. So I can say that we've been here, since 2015. But it was also subtle. Oh, you can try this way. You can try that. I was just really enjoying, what I was doing. I still do now. It's just try to first. Think about the people, not yourself. It's not the day you plant the seed that you start making money.
Right.
That's what makes our expectation like, why have I not started making money? Just put your mind that, look, I'm not here to make money. Just close your mind on that. That's just what I'll say. You don't know when the money starts coming. Yeah.
I wanted to say, because there are people also who are so convinced that this is what they need to do. They started out something with so much, passion. Would you say that consistency is the difference between you and somebody else who went into a business similar to this, or maybe any business, and they are nowhere to be found today? Would you say consistency is kind of like the major key that's a difference between you and somebody who has failed in whatever business that they started at the same time as you?
Yeah, consistency, to be honest, is key. And sometimes I must also be honest, you will get tired. So like this morning, to be honest, I didn't even feel like talking. Like I don't even like it's not it's not this morning. I just want to just stand up just because the kind of things in front of me right now, like this morning, in fact, you would think it's a conglomerate. Has to do it, but we still have to show up.
Yeah,
you would still show up. You do the ones you can, and you just move on. So on times when one is tired, I would recommend that you just rest a bit, maybe just like for 3 hours or for 5 hours, just relax,
right,
and just rejuvenate. That's just what I'll say. I probably might not have said that if I didn't feel that way this morning. But I honestly woke up feeling that way. I was so pumped as at yesterday for this interview.
Yes.
After that, checking through all the things I needed to do, I just sent emails in the midnight just to make sure that it's right on time for this morning. So yes to consistency, and just consistency.
Right.
Consistency
is key.
A great difference.
Absolutely.
Staying power, perseverance.
Because the tough times sometimes will make you want to question why you started this business, why you are here, why aren't you just lounging somewhere in a 9 to 5, perhaps like everybody else, maybe?
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Times like that will come. It will come.
But it will pass. But it will pass.
It will pass, yes.
It will pass. All right, I wanted to quickly ask you about a few other things as well before I let you go. I know that you have so much to do, so I don't want to hold you on for too much longer. But I know social media has been a blessing to you and a lot of people in business, in Nigeria, for example. But talk about some of the downsides of social media that you experience that a lot of people do not know. I mean, I've seen you on social media, you've grown your followership, you do a lot of fun and entertaining things, you know, like TikTok for us that we love to watch. You also are very motivational on social media. You sell your products majorly on social media as well. But what are the downsides of social media to businesses in Nigeria?
To be honest, if I'm to be fair, I would say that social media doesn't have so much downsides for business.
Yes.
For business. The only thing is you have to keep up. So I would say that the downsides, you know, are for the runners, the people running the businesses.
Right.
Like you have to always keep up. So it's not a minus, for your business.
Right.
It's only, it might probably be what's it called for you? I would not call it a minus for the human.
Yeah, a few challenges here and there.
So it's important to have a good team to always be, you know, on ground. You know, to always be on ground. Like initially, it used to be just me, taking the orders, taking the inquiries, but I can't keep up. It's not possible. I can't keep up any longer. So there has to be people who are trained, who understand how it works, who join, you know. So 2, 3, 4, 5 people.
Right.
One person can be enough. Some will have to need as much as 3 to 5 people, like we do now, to continue to be there and, you know, responding to inquiries at the right time. Because yes, attention span. So you have to be, you know, be there to keep up. If you're there to keep up, you know, and attend to customers in a very respectful, polite, and prompt manner. Why not? Why not?
Absolutely. Now, I mean, real quickly, just finally, when we talk about failure as well, I know that your packaging has changed over the years. What are some of the things that you got wrong in the beginning as well, that now you can say, okay, I'm glad I failed there, but it got me to where I am today or to where we're going?
Okay, so just in case someone needs a word of encouragement, it is okay to be ashamed of your first product. If you're not ashamed of your first product, you probably started late. So you probably are waiting for like 20 years to perfect the front part. Then another 5 years for the side part to make sure that it's very perfect up to international standards. And however, I would say that as much as one can, you know, we should try to make sure that our first product, there is what is called a basic, a minimum viable product.
Okay.
I want to sell a dress. The minimum viable part of it.
At least it looks decent.
It looks
and
decent.
wearable.
So,
yes.
Exactly. So not, okay, because I'm just starting, you should understand and manage.
Take me as I am.
No. Yes, there has to be some certain, we take you as you are, but we are paying for you.
Exactly.
So you should collect half of the price too. We're not taking half the price. Yeah, so we'll understand with you, but it has to be like minimum viable product. So that's so I would not say that I'm proud of my first. I'm not even proud of it because I have never been in a like industrial product development. But I had to do that. And so I would say that I'm proud of that, but I'm not proud of the outcome. But I'm proud of the fact that in case someone, you know, is trying to switch careers, or someone listening to me is feeling like, oh, can I ever do it? I can tell you that you can do it. You can.
Wow.
It's hard. It's hard. But you can do it.
Yeah. We're proud of you. You have come a long way.
You can do it. I don't know who this is for. You can do it. You can stand and do it. So because quite like last week, so you know, a couple of people had reminded us It's like someone just reminded me about our own products. And I felt bad. I felt, oh, maybe what we're doing now should have been the first product. But there's no reason for it.
There's a reason. There's a reason for where you're coming from. It shows us your journey. And that's why some of us can be proud of you now, because we see where you're coming from. We see how far you've come.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Toyin, for your time. We really appreciate your openness and being so raw with us this morning on the show. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.
And you too. Thank you very much.
All right, that was amazing. Thank you so much once again to our guest who has been so open and so raw with her journey in business. And she's such a phenomenal woman who's doing phenomenal things in this industry where she is in. She is Mrs. Toyin Onigbanjo, a child nutrition educator, food artist, author, family enthusiast, and founder and CEO of August Secrets, a former journalist who had a dream because her child just refused to take all of the foreign products on the shelf. And so she had to create her own recipes for her child. And she's come such a long way. And I hope you enjoyed that interview. And we're inspired by her openness as well. That's all we have for you on Beyond the Surface today. Just to remind you that it's okay to fail, but as long as you stand up and you keep going. I'm Ronke Giwa Onafuwa. Good morning and enjoy the rest of your day.
Washing, scrubbing, scrubbing.